All right, boys. Want to go over the 4-5-1 and how we want to play that now that we're shifting to 11v11. All right, so want to make sure you pay close attention to the numbering system because I'd like to use that more going forward, and we should just all know that. But I want to talk about both the numbers as well as kind of the roles and responsibilities in our base offense. The four backs, five midfielders, and one striker up top, forward up top. Okay, so the keeper, number one. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward. We know keeper responsibilities. There's actually plenty more to know there, but we won't talk about that today. Then we've got, let's focus first on the 4 and the 5. These are our two center backs. Okay, the center backs, we know this. They kind of they're the last line of defense before the keeper. They tend to play together. They command the backs and bring them forward or back, making sure to hold the line, to make sure that we are keeping ourselves as high as we need to be, making sure that those attackers can't get behind us, right? If we hold up high here, this guy's got to come up or he's offside. So they're going to make sure that they're controlling how far up and back we are. But the 4 and 5, so for being, again, kind of for formal about it, oftentimes you'll see that the 4 is called more of a stopper, and the 5 at least used to be a little bit less and less these days, but the 5 can be known as the sweeper. That sweeper role is kind of literally sweeping up any mess that gets in behind these defenders and in front of the keeper. So he's kind of staying here and picking up anything that might get through. Whereas the stopper, if we're all here, he might be the first one to attack, to defend an oncoming attacker. He might be the first one to go out there and meet him, stopping the play, essentially, hence the name. So that's the role of the 4 and the 5, okay? They're typically going to be the laggards, not going up and back an awful lot. The 2 and the 3 are the two outside backs. We're going to refer to those here. They can be called fullbacks. They can be called a lot of things. We're going to refer to them as wingbacks. Reason being, because we want our outside backs to be really attack-minded, okay? These are not, yes, of course, they're defensive positions, but for us, these are very much a part of the attack, where at least one is going almost all the time. So if the ball, is getting up in here, this guy is up on it. This guy is making a nice run with him, okay? He's in space. This guy's coming up. This guy's here. These guys then, as this guy goes, they're going to just slide right across. So the 4 becomes the center back, 2 stays right, and the 5 becomes the left back, essentially in a 3-man defense while this guy goes. No problem with this guy going even further. Go ahead and overlap. Hug that line. Go ahead and get up here and want that ball as you're passing here. Have this guy go ahead and put a ball in for you to run onto it. Go ahead and send a service ball in or make a strike. Love to see that. Love to see those outside backs be a part of the attack, up and back, literally end line to end line. That's what we'd like to see. But again, making sure that we're keeping balance, where if one goes, the backs shift so that we're not completely left with too many up high. Okay, so that's that. So for both sides there, right? So we've got the 2 on one side, 3 on the other. Okay, that's the backs. Middle of the field. Here's where we have our 5. Okay, so our 2 outside midfielders are our wingers positions. Okay, so the wingers are, again, making sure not to get sucked in. We can often see this happen a lot. This is too much congestion here. Sure, ball's over on this side of the field. Why not? This guy can come across a bit, okay? But as soon as we see that ball start to come back, we need to get nice and wide. Okay, so the balls can be played in. You're meeting them out here. He's coming up. He's coming up over. These guys are crossing over like that. So this is, how this then starts to look, right? So these two wingers really need to be focused on, we talk about having chalk on your cleats, okay? Oftentimes it's paint today and maybe even permanent, but you want to imagine if these touch lines here on the outside, if they were made of paint or chalk, you need to come off the field with lots of chalk on your cleats if you're a winger, or quite frankly, an outside back, one of our wing backs. Okay, lots of chalk on the cleats. You need to have heels on the line, facing in, body open, so that you have a full view of the field, right? Waiting to receive that ball nice and wide. It is nearly impossible if the ball is played out here for you to get to it first and to backtrack to get there. But if you're outside here, you can run onto it easily here and get anything in front of you as you're facing the field from the outside looking in, okay? The three other positions in the middle of the field for our midfielders, those are the 6, 8, and the 10, okay? So if we're being formal about it again, the 10 is typically, if you were to watch, professional soccer, the 10 is the attacking midfielder, creating more chances, playing higher. Sometimes he's also even called the second striker, right? Okay, so this guy is creating a lot more scoring chances and is typically the attack-minded midfielder, whereas the 8 is the central midfielder, often called the box-to-box midfielder, owning this whole space in here. Okay, he's the true center midfielder. The 6 is the holding or defensive midfielder, tending to be the laggard of them. So if we're in an attack kind of position, the triangle looks like this, as opposed to if we're defensive minded, then this guy's high and maybe these two are back, right? So, but the way we're gonna play it is these three are essentially interchangeable. Okay, so this guy's making a lot of runs. He's up and back doing a lot of hard work up in here. Maybe he comes up a bit and he drops back and we play like that. So these three, we saw a lot of congestion today, kind of on top of each other a little bit. We'll get used to that. We'll figure out how to kind of find our space a little bit more. But really the role of these three is very similar. Just owning this middle third of the field here, getting box to box, creating lots of scoring chances, putting lots of through balls in, trying to split those defenders, finding your striker, etc. Okay, and also taking plenty of scoring chances yourself, taking shots. Okay, so that's the 3 midfielders in here, and the 2 outside midfielders. So that's the 5. So 4, 5, 1. Just quickly, by the way, in terms of numbering, the way I remember it is you do have to remember 7 and 11, but of those 2, the lower number is always on the right. So 7 and 11, lower number being over on the right. Of the 2 outside backs, same thing goes. 2 and 3, the lower number 2 is on the right. 4 and 5, the lower number of the 2 is on the right. So you do have to remember the pairs, 7, 11, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but the lower of each one of those pairs is the one on the right, okay? The striker, obviously, this is the target player. We're trying to find this guy. We're trying to split defenders and have him get in on them. He's often going to find himself playing with his back to the goal with a center back directly behind him. And so in those cases, if we're playing a ball into him, he's putting it on for these outside wingers to come running onto, right? So he's playing with his back to the goal a lot. He's also getting creative, going ahead and taking chances, going 1v1 with players, taking hard shots, being there for rebounds when others are taking shots, getting good position in front of guys for balls to come in. He wants to have his body open to the field as much as possible so he can see and be able to turn and strike, get his hips around and strike the ball. Be there for rebounds, be there for headers, service balls coming in like that. So that's the number 9 spot. He is working touch line to touch line, full sides. Doesn't necessarily need to be making straight runs like that. Certainly we want to see angled balls in, but point being, you own sideline to sideline here, not just within this 18 here, okay? So that's really it. That's our 4, 5, 1, which, you know, the nice thing about that on attack becomes a 4, 3, 3, right? We can see that it quickly becomes a 4, 3, 3. It drops into a 4, 5, 1 when we get defensively. You even have played 2 further back this way. You're almost in kind of a 4, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 2, something like that. So you're really getting, it's great defensively and it's great on the attack. So that's it for now. Just wanted to put that out there, have you guys learn those numbers, learn the positions and the roles. And I think just the biggest thing is use the full field. This thing here is not to scale. It is not only half as wide as it is long, the field. It's much wider than this, and we need to make sure to utilize all of that width. Okay, but that's it. Good stuff.